What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Big Factor. It is January 14th, 2025. Happy Taco Tuesday. That's what I say every Tuesday. Jack, it's good to be back with you. Nick is back with us on the show. He just got back from California. Nick, how was it out there? Did you have fun? Did you get to see the sun? Did you miss it?
I did, man. I missed the sun so much. It is the good news is that it still exists. We know that for sure. I've confirmed that the sun still does exist. I'm very jet lagged, so who knows what we get into on this edition of The Big Factor.
Dude, Nick, obviously I filled in for you on Big Play Cleveland yesterday, and
how'd that go?
It was good. We had Timmy Hall on, talked some Buckeyes, Notre Dame. It was a good conversation, but my point is, I looked at myself. I am so disgustingly white. It's bad, and my face was red because it's all dry. This time of the year, horrible, horrible, horrible. Jack, you look good though.
Yeah, I'm very, very Irish. Whenever I leave the house, I have to put on about 4 or 5 layers of sunscreen, so I've never really had that concern about being tan. I think I'm kind of stuck with the current hue that I got, so yeah.
All right, well, we got
the UV index. I'm still also very pale. It's winter there too, believe it or not. So the UV index was not very high. So despite being in sun, and at least I saw blue skies instead of the whatever gray we have going on here.
Yeah, how cool is a blue sky?
It is cool. It is cool. Honestly, like that whole I was only there for a couple days, but it makes me really want to put a for sale sign in this house and go somewhere.
Did you hit up In-N-Out or Jack in the Box? Isn't that Cali as well?
Yeah, I got In-N-Out by default. I got both of them by default. I got Jack in the Box super late night on, I think, Saturday night. Solid, actually solid. That was my first time having Jack in the Box, and I've been out West Coast a lot, but that was my first time having Jack in the Box. Solid. In-N-Out is so overrated. Some of the people that we were with, I've got a bunch of friends that live out there, so some of the people that we were with wanted In-N-Out. I wouldn't have ripped it, but we went. It's so overrated, especially compared to Swenson's. We have the superior burger joint in this side of the country. By a large margin.
What part of Cali were you in?
I was in San Diego. We did a little hopping around though, obviously as one does. We were up to La Jolla. I was on the hunt for Paul DePodesta.
Yeah, he's nowhere to be found. He's in his little bat cave. But on a serious note, did you how close were you to the fires? Did you see anything kind of like that or any remnants?
No. So some of the people that I were with were actually hosting people that were evacuating. So we were hanging with some people that were literally just glued to their phone, reading the LA Times, trying to figure out the fire situation. It sounds like I'm not trying to downplay the fires, but the way that they made it seem, I was with 2 people that have an apartment in LA. It seems like it's not that bad. Obviously a bunch of super nice big houses got blown down, but this happens in California. The fire aspect of it happens in California all the time. It only got to the residences because of there was just really bad winds. This just happened to be the perfect storm. So thankfully they were fine. They literally left LA just for a couple days because they had a really small dog. The air quality wasn't good. So it sounds like they're going to be all good. It sounds like really for the most part, the fires are kind of chilling out. I was too far away from where I was. When we went up a little bit, we were getting some of the when you get an Amber Alert on your phone that there's a missing kid or whatever, they were doing that for evacuations. So damn. we did get a couple of evacuation Amber Alerts, if you will. But no, I didn't see any fires. I didn't see any smoke. I thought it would maybe even be remember in Ohio when we had the Canadian fires and everything was really foggy for a couple of days. It wasn't even like that. So I was too far away from any of that.
Well, good. Glad you're safe. Obviously, prayers out to everybody in California. But
yeah, for sure.
Glad you had fun. We got a lot on the plate today. Rams rolled the Vikings last night. I don't know if a lot of people saw that coming. It wasn't too shocking. Eagles fan meltdown going viral. I got some thoughts. Me and Jack might have a little contradiction there. That'll be interesting. TikTok ban coming up soon. We'll see if that gets resolved. Yeah. Wended with Caitlin Clark getting stalked. Also, LeAngelo Ball. We don't talk about Tweaker. What a good song. But first, we start with the news yesterday that came out. Mike McCarthy is out of the Big D. Jerry Jones is moving on from Mike McCarthy after 5 seasons. 2020 when he first got there, 6-10, then 12-5 in 3 straight years. No playoff success, and then obviously gets canned after a 7-10 finish this season, guys. And obviously the big name Deion Sanders is talked to Adam Schefter. He says that him and Jerry Jones have had conversations about it. Nothing has really moved on more than that. He claims he's content in Colorado, but we all know anything could change at any given moment there. That'd be a hard job to resist. But your guys' thoughts, this is not shocking. I thought it was well due that Jerry Jones moves on. And now we move to a part where Jerry Jones wouldn't be shocking if he goes and makes that mega superstar move in signing Deion Sanders to lead the Cowboys.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy isn't far off that whole Doc Rivers coaching tree of you win one a long time ago and it earns you job after job. But the guy is a winner. It's not often in life that you can say Mike McCarthy would firmly land on his feet, given his size. But I do think he'll land on his feet just fine and get a job somewhere else. But I wanted to ask you guys if I could give you guys a thought on a possible Cowboys head coach.
Sure.
So I'm not thinking the Coach Prime route. I think Prime's going to wait until Kevin gets fired and take over in Cleveland with his son Shedeur in a year or two. But I kind of like Steve Sarkisian. There's been rumors about him heading to the NFL. It's only a 1.5 hour drive away from where he's at right now in Austin. Could you guys see Sark upping out and taking the Cowboys job?
I suppose. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe he's ever head coached an NFL team before, right?
No.
So, I mean, then again, neither is Deion. That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, it is an interesting thought. I also have that same thought. Like, it wouldn't surprise me, and I know we'll do national championship stuff later throughout the week and into Monday. It wouldn't surprise me if Ryan Day won the Natty and dipped to one of these NFL jobs.
Really?
Just like the pressure of Ohio State, the pressure of Michigan this last season. Think of like all Kirk Herbstreit been, like he repeatedly talks about like the lunatic fringe or whatever. Like, I think if Ryan Day could get away from some of that culture in college football, he probably would. So Steve Sarkisian to the Cowboys makes a little bit of sense. I almost wonder with the Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders conversation, people forget like those two are tight. I almost wonder if Deion is using this as a little bit of a leveraging opportunity to get more money out of the Buffaloes. We know, like he had said previously, like he wants to be in Boulder. He wants to coach college football. He wants to be with the Buffs. They're going to work out a new deal soon. You imagine soon would be before spring ball starts, which is really only a couple months away. I almost wonder if now he could go back to their AD and be like, look, like, I could go to Dallas. I could go really do whatever. Like, you guys need to absolutely back the Brinks truck up for me to stay here and to me to be in Colorado, especially without Shedeur, especially without Travis Hunter. I think Colorado now has to make a case to Coach Prime as to why he could say. So all of this stuff, especially when some of the national media gets involved, is all positioning. It's all posturing. So be careful of what's out there. But you can't deny Jerry Jones is liable to do a dumb thing or two. And I'm glad to see like Troy Aikman and some of these other big time guys really drag Jerry Jones, because Mike McCarthy did get a raw deal, kind of like the fact that he was blocked from interviews and then ultimately doesn't get his contract renewed. Like, that's shady business 101. I hope nothing more than Jerry Jones gets stuck with some crappy, young, unproven candidate that flames out in a couple years. Because he's just a shady dude, and that's what happens to shady people.
Yeah, I believe the term Deion used was he's got his kickstand down in Buffalo. He likes to be there. But it'll be interesting. You're right. I mean, you're moving on Shedeur. Both of your kids aren't going to be there. What's going to keep him there? It's not like he's found much success there in terms of winning, right?
I do think in terms of the cupboard is bare, I do think he has either a 4 or 5 star freshman QB coming in, though. So maybe that is a little bit of reason to stay, or at least to leverage back and forth with the NFL and the Big 12.
Yeah, well, other moves, of course, Mike Vrabel named the new head coach of the Patriots. That also wasn't a shocking move. Obviously, he was a former Patriot. I believe he got inducted to the Patriots Hall of Fame just last season. Good for them. I think he'll be better than Gerard Mayo. Now, is he going to quickly turn around that franchise? That's to be seen. Drake May seems like the future. How about Joe Milton? I said if I have to start the campaign for Joe Milton to Cleveland for what, a third, a fourth? Hey, I would do it.
Yeah, I feel like, though, for them, like, they got to hold on to him. Like, you got to see they spent a late round, day 3 pick on the kid. You trade him for a third or a fourth. Like, what's that really net you? And I especially feel like now with Vrabel at the helm, like, they're going to be in stockpile talent mode. Vrabel's a good head coach. it's difficult that the Browns let a guy like that out of the building, especially with what we've seen throughout this wild card weekend and some of the, McVays of the world really flexing their muscles. It's tough to let a guy like Vrabel walk. I obviously get it, but it'll be fascinating to see what he does with the Pats for sure.
Nick, I'm a little bit different than you when it comes to this Joe Milton thing. I'm personally under the belief, because I've gotten to watch Joe Milton play probably 10 games in college and a game in the NFL now. I think his stock will never be higher than it is right now. I don't think the Joe Milton that we saw against the Bills is what Joe Milton is going to become. My thinking is, if you took him with a 6th-round pick and now you can flip it for a 4th-round pick, it's basically like trading your 6th-round pick 2 years ago or whatever for a 4th-round pick now. Because
remember what happened just with DTR here. I mean, he was the preseason star his rookie season, and obviously since then you saw him getting a real game, and he's not worth a bone.
And that is the Patriot way, is buy low and sell high.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to see. With the level of quarterback play that I've seen this past weekend, you guys trying to talk me into Joe Milton isn't really moving the needle much.
Joe Milton or Aaron Rodgers next year, Nick?
I'd take, if we're signing up for 17 games.
Yes.
I'd take Rodgers.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I would too. I don't think it's even debatable, to be honest. I still don't think Joe Milton's good.
I think it's very debatable. I mean, I'm not saying Joe Milton's going to be some superstar, but look at Aaron Rodgers last year. I mean, you had Devontae Adams, you had a decent defense with you, and it all collapsed. And that falls on ultimately the quarterback.
No, it doesn't. This comes back to this. You guys have seen the meme on Twitter when the attractive guy walks up to someone at the desk.
Human resources.
Hello, human.
Hey, how are you doing? And then the less attractive guy walks up and it's hello, human resources. Yeah. Let's do this for a second. I believe Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes had damn near the exact same stats this season. Patrick Mahomes, oh, you're beautiful. Hey, come talk to me.
Well,
Aaron Rodgers,
15
HR.
and 2.
He did it because he has Steve Spagnuolo with the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, Andy Reid and Robert Saleh are also two very different head coaches.
That is true,
yes.
And their weapons are very different.
And Brett Veach is a good owner, and we know Woody Johnson is a horrible owner. All right, but that's enough of that. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, Rams rolling over the Vikings. They claim the last spot in the divisional round. Sean McVay remains a wizard. Good for them. Good for Stafford. They now have a date with Philadelphia. We'll break that down, as well as the rest of the divisional games, when we come back from the Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Once again, happy Tuesday. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, joined remotely with Nick Padone. And today we are brought to you, like every day, by our great friends at Fairway Ford, Ohio. Fairway Ford is the biggest Ford truck dealership in Ohio. They have the largest selection of F-150s and Super Duty trucks. They will not be beat on price by any other Ford dealers. I guarantee you that. Please do not let a short drive to Canfield prevent you from saving thousands, yes, thousands on your new truck. Fairway Ford, the largest inventory of new Ford trucks, the lowest pricing, and the same hometown level of service. Visit fairwayfordohio.com. Again, please, that's fairwayfordohio.com. Well, Fairway Ford will save you thousands on a truck, and that's about the amount of sacks that the Rams had last night on Sam Darnold and the Vikings. They cruise 27-9 to move on to divisional round. Sam Darnold, 245 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Obviously, that big fumble recovery from Jared Verse, 57 yards. That pretty much sealed the deal there, and it was all Rams at that point.
Yeah, I mean, that was a game where I felt that game many times as a football fan in my life, where you get the blowout and just nothing goes your way. You think you have the touchdown the other way, it gets called back, and that's maybe at that point you're back 10-10. But Man, I just feel bad for Sam Darnold. The guy lost a lot of money the last 2 weekends, and I can't even really blame him. What was it, 9 sacks last night, you said, I believe?
9 sacks. That ties a playoff record.
I mean, if you can't stay upright, you can't really do your job. That's first and foremost as a quarterback. But yeah, and it also just prevents that weird next year. Do you just go back to JJ McCarthy? Do they try and re-sign Darnold cheap now? I don't know.
Yeah, listen, I don't really feel that bad for Sam Darnold because
Facts.
the things that plague him are the same things if you look up like 2018 mock drafts, like Sam Darnold pros and cons, the cons are all still there. From USC, that he holds on to the football for too long, that long, elated throwing motion that's like sideways. It takes him too long to get rid of the football, the way that he releases the ball. All of the same issues that plagued him at USC are still prevalent in the NFL. He was lucky that he had Kevin O'Connell, who's an offensive guru and genius, scheming things up for him. He's lucky that he had Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Like, if I'm a team that's looking at signing Sam Darnold next year, like, I'm hoping that Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison come with him, or else you're going to be with, the Sam Darnold that we've come to know for the years and years. So I'm out on Sam Darnold.
It's interesting. I don't know if I would say I'm out on Sam Darnold because I understand that in the 2 biggest games of the season, obviously the one that could have clinched the NFC North, he looked like crap, 9 points.
Yeah.
And he did it back-to-back games now, eliminated from the playoffs. But if you extrapolate the whole season before that, I mean, the stats were really good. I mean, we were talking about this guy as an MVP candidate through the first half of the season. Now, he has fallen down since. I get that. But that's interesting to hear you're definitely out. And I feel like a lot of teams are probably like that. But you go back to your point, Jack, what do the Vikings do? You have J.J. McCarthy, who looks exactly like Anakin Skywalker, by the way. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yeah.
Waiting in the wings, you could franchise tag him, right? Sign him to the whatever, that 25 mil or whatever it is for the franchise quarterback. They could do that if they're worried that J.J. McCarthy might not be ready from those knee surgeries. It's an interesting choice, but it's funny how quick things shift in the NFL from this was a guy who was looking to get paid a bag on a career resurgence. Well, now there's a possibility he could be riding the bench somewhere after going 14-3 in the regular season.
It's the same thing as Baker. Like, we know who these guys are. Like Sam Darnold in a perfect climate, in a perfect situation, could win you games. Is he ever going to win you a Super Bowl? Probably not. So the same thing that I keep saying about the Browns, like, I would just give the keys to the car to the J.J. McCarthy next year. If it were me, like, I would shake Sam Darnold's hand and say, thank you. You did what you were supposed to do this year. We won 14 games. We kept the culture alive. Obviously, O'Connell's a good head coach. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is a great GM. Like, just shake his hand and let him go is kind of what I would do.
Yeah, that's very similar, Nick, to what happened when Tom Brady went down for the year. I want to say it was like 2008, maybe. You guys could correct me on that. And Matt Castle came in and won 12 games for the Patriots, and they didn't really do what they were supposed to do, or in terms of like team-wide success, but he kept them on the standard or the level of where the team had been the last couple of years. And then Matt Castle was never really heard from again, outside of getting a bag every 5 years or so for no reason.
Yeah, well, the Rams are headed to play the Eagles in Philadelphia on Sunday, but before that, our game Saturday, the first one, Texans-Chiefs, is the evening game, however you want to describe that. They open up as a 7.5-point favorite. Chiefs beat the Texans 27-19 in Week 16. Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 in the divisional round in his career. That's the most wins without a loss in NFL history. Going to be a tall task for the Texans. I don't see this one being particularly close. I think it's going to come out to, obviously, the Chiefs will play whoever wins the Baltimore-Buffalo game. We'll get into that. But, I mean, guys, let's be real. I don't expect the Texans to really even be competitive in this one, do you?
I don't know, man. I mean, they looked good last week, and sometimes it's about turning it around and getting that confidence at the right time of the year. Do I think they win going into Arrowhead? Probably not, but I do think they can keep this game close. They've come together closer through a lot of injuries throughout the latter part of the season with Tank Dell and stuff, and sometimes that does bring a team closer together. Like, we have that us against the world mentality. No one believes in us. They were everyone talking about how they didn't belong in the playoffs, whatever, the last couple of weeks. They got skunked in a couple of primetime games to end the year. I see a little bit of fight out of them, but yeah, I do think the Chiefs win this game probably by at least a touchdown.
The Chargers stink. Like can we just say, like, the Chargers? Every single year they get there. Every single year they do this. So I'm not putting much stock into what I saw out of Houston. I personally think the Chiefs roll, and I think whoever wins Baltimore and Buffalo better look out. I know this isn't the same Chiefs team that we've seen the last couple years. Obviously, offensively, they haven't been as dominant like we talked about. Mahomes hasn't had the caliber of season that he's used to and accustomed to, but I'm not sleeping on them and that culture. They find weird ways to win. Like, that's their new MO. I'm not sleeping on Kansas City at all.
Yeah, CJ Stroud is talented, very talented. They found their guy, even with the sophomore slump. But listen, this is setting up for a Chiefs prime time, whether it's Buffalo or Baltimore. That's what the NFL wants. That's what they're going to get. But we move on to the night game Saturday, back to the NFC. Commanders, they beat the Buccaneers. They have a date with the Lions, an even bigger spread. Lions are 8.5-point favorite. Lions beat the Commanders back in week 2, 36-27. Obviously, that was a very different Jaden Daniels than we're accustomed to now. Last time Detroit played Washington in the playoffs, guys, January 8th, 2000. That was before I was born. That was before Jack was born. That was before That was before Jaden Daniels himself was born.
Wow.
In this game, this gives me the if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck vibes. I'm going across the board. Everyone else, I saw lines today on anytime touchdowns for this game, and there were 4 Lions players who were minus lines to score a touchdown this game. That's 28 points you put up for them right there. But they've been injured all year long, and the comms, like, this is the most confidence and the most momentum they've had as a fan base as in anything in a very long time. I mean, with everything they went through with Dan Snyder and all this, you finally get your quarterback, you finally win a playoff game, you doink it in. I love the Commanders to go on the road and beat an injured Lions
Hell
team.
no.
I love it.
Hell
that
no.
That completely contradicts like his duck thing.
Yeah.
But because it's
That's
too
not
good,
what the metaphor
it's
means.
It's too good to be true.
What do you mean? How's it too good to be true?
That's not what
They have 4 guys who are
I don't think
favorites.
that's what that means.
Your
David
hat's
odds.
on a little too tight. No, I mean, Nick, you're taking the Lions, right? To cover.
Yeah, and I think that's what it means. Like, it's too good to be true. I'm taking the Lions. You know, it's too good to be true. Washington can't pull an upset against Detroit. I'm taking the Lions. Right? Isn't that what that means?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
If it looks like a duck and quack, it probably is a duck. I probably shouldn't use that phrase because I changed where I was going with it.
That's that. What was it? That school, that Texas State education.
Yeah, 2.8 team GPA. Go Wildcats.
Yeah. All right. Well, they're gonna have their hands full with the Lions. Probably the Super Bowl favorite. Obviously, you're never counting on the Chiefs. But Sunday we flip it over. I mentioned the Rams and Eagles. Big spreads in the divisional round this year, guys. Eagles are a 6-point favorite over the Rams. Eagles beat the Rams 37-20 back in week 12. Rams obviously have some momentum going out and destroying the Vikings. I mean, there's no really other way to put it. But the Eagles look like a complete team. Jalen Hurts looked good back in his return from the concussion protocol. Saquon Barkley remains Saquon Barkley. They're going to have their hands full. But, guys, I mean, Nick, you've said it on the show before. You can never count out the Rams and Sean McVay, ever.
No, ever. I'm such a big McVay fan. Like, it stinks that he's probably going to be one of these guys that, like, hangs it up early just because, like, he's already won a Super Bowl. He's made a ton of money. He has a super hot wife. Like, he's proved everything there is to prove. So I'm taking the Rams. Like, I know I'll take the Rams straight up. Until they're finished. I just can't bet against them. I actually thought the Eagles looked a little bit sloppy in that game. You know, at halftime, Hurts didn't even have 50 passing yards. I get that they were, just getting their footing, and the Packers are a formidable defense. But I'm going to take the Rams, especially after what I saw last night. They know how to win. With everything that LA is going through right now, I think they're kind of embracing that and playing for LA. I think that kind of went into that Vikings victory as well. So I'm going to keep taking the Rams.
Yeah, Nick, I agree with you on that one. I'm taking the Rams also. If you look at what the Eagles did in the offseason, they had an older defense. They switched out a lot of parts, brought in some young guys who've played great this year. But now you meet the chess master in the playoffs. Now you got to go up against Sean McVay, a guy who knows how to move the ball around, get to Puka, get out to Kyron Williams, whatever. We saw how good that defense was last night. I love the Rams also on the road.
I understand the thought, and I will never count out the Rams. Like, I wouldn't be totally shocked if the Rams go ahead and won this game. I mean, even last year, right? They found their way into the playoffs, almost beat the Lions, guys. Like, they're always a playoff threat to any team, no matter the record that they have. But I think the Eagles are too talented. I think it's going to be the Saquon show. If Jalen Hurts doesn't throw the game away, I think they can win this game easily, to be honest with you. I'll probably take them to cover, but it'll be interesting to see. But we move to the last game of the divisional round. Probably, not even probably, guys. This is going to be one of the best games we've ever watched. Like, reminds me of like Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen in the AFC Championship, right? Buffalo opens as a 1-point dog at home. Ravens beat Baltimore, throttled them 35-10 earlier this year in week 4. That was the third worst losing margin in Josh Allen's career. This is the 7th matchup, though, in postseason history where two teams going against each other both averaged 30-plus points. I'll go first in this one. I really want Josh Allen and the Bills to win. I think the Ravens will. I saw what they did to them. Derrick Henry, they had no answer. Lamar's, can he get over this playoff slump? I think this will be the year he does. And it sucks because I don't want the Chiefs to win it, and I think the Bills match up better with the Chiefs, but I think the Ravens match up really well against the Bills.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in the law of averages. It's looking like Lamar Jackson's getting the MVP and he won the regular season matchup. That means Josh Allen's going to win the playoff game. But I've also, let me say, I've been to Buffalo a lot this time of the year. I've been up there in the snow. I've been in the Ralph. And the people up there, the flags are everywhere. That building is going to be rocking one more time in the playoffs in that building. I love Josh and the Bills in this one. I mean, I don't know how could you not at home? How could you not at home in the big chicken wing?
Is that what they call it?
No.
Oh.
I think Buffalo wing, maybe.
They should start that.
This just the wing. This is
they don't call it Buffalo wing though because they are Buffalo. They call it like when we call Buffalo chicken dip, they call just wing dip.
That's funny.
Yeah.
This is the game of the year by far. I'm gonna go with the Bills. You'll never catch me, picking the Ravens, betting on the Ravens, hoping that the Ravens win. I feel like if the Bills defense can find a way, you don't have to stop Derrick Henry. You just kind of have to slow him down. I mean, the Browns defense found a way to do it in that win that we were at, where Jameis Winston popped off. So give me the Bills. This is the year of Josh Allen. I want to see Josh Allen and Mahomes in the conference championship. I'm going Bills Mafia all the way.
All right, Nick, we talked about yesterday's show. Obviously, we're in here, but I want to get your take real quick before we move on. Who deserves MVP more, Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen?
I think MVP means I hate MVP across sports because I feel like it consistently goes to the wrong person. MVP means most valuable player. Yes. So if you took each quarterback off of their team and replaced them with the 15th ranked quarterback in the league, who would be better? I would say the Ravens would be better in that scenario. So I would say Josh Allen deserves MVP.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I had that exact same argument that I said. Your number one receiver is Khalil Shakir. You lose Gabe Davis. You lose Stephon Diggs. You look at the casting crew around them. Obviously, the edge goes to the Ravens. That team would maybe, not that the Bills, supporting cast is bad by any means, but Josh Allen has willed that team to so many wins this season, and so has Lamar. I get it, so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Jack, you said he won the AP. He was the first-team quarterback, and that often means that who the MVP goes to, right?
Yeah, the lines have shifted to minus 200, I think, towards Lamar winning MVP at this point, which I think is crazy with the people around Josh. I mean, Curtis Samuels is number one right now, and you're not going to give him the MVP? Wow.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, Lamar has Derrick Henry, and Buffalo has Ray Davis.
And there's games where I'm not saying Lamar wasn't capable of winning the game for them, but there's games Derrick Henry has single-handedly won the Ravens games. Yeah. There's not one game that you could say, for instance, James Cook won him that game. It was all Josh Allen. It's been Josh Allen all year. Has more wins. Higher seed. I think he deserves it.
The Bills' defense is now starting to return to health more. Like the Bills' defense we're seeing today wasn't the Bills' defense that was on the field most of the year. They had Milano out for a lot of the year. That team was littered with injuries on both sides of the ball. Their O-line also. Josh so deserves this one, but he would prefer the one in February anyways.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see that. But all right, well, we're going to take a break. Eagles are in the playoffs, I mentioned, but one fan is no longer allowed to go to Eagles game, and for a good reason. You probably know who I'm talking about. He went viral. We'll talk about that and more when we get back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Appreciate you tuning in. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, remotely. Nick Padone back from California. Welcome back to the great snowy state of Ohio. But now we're moving on to this topic. Eagles fan meltdown. If you haven't seen it on social media, I don't know what you're doing because it's everywhere, at least on my feed. Well, his name is Ryan Caldwell. He went viral in a video taken by ex-user Alexander Basara. Basically, this guy was berating his fiance, I believe who it was. Basically, she was celebrating for the Packers. She was in Eagles territory, and he called her an ugly, dumb, a very bad word that you don't call women or you don't use in general. And now he is under hot water. The latest one. It reminds me of the one story of the "You're not that guy, pal." You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just complete douchebags going viral on the internet. That's 2024 for you. But I guess this guy works for a company called BCT Partners. They put out a statement that they're investigating it. I think he's on leave or whatever it is. I'm sure he'll get fired. But it came out that NFL reporter Derek Gunn said Big Dom, for those of you who don't know, that's Dom DeSandro. He's the chief security officer for the Eagle. He's gone viral for many reasons. He's hilarious. Well, he found the guy, and he said he's banned from all Eagles game. Did both of you guys see the video?
Yeah, I brought it up on the show yesterday. I was firing on this over the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, we kind of talked about it off air. I mean, like, let's be real, guys. I mean, it seems like this guy's life's going to be ruined, right?
Yeah, and Ryan, I can start it off then since I'm the one who definitely disagrees a little bit. First of all, what the guy said, there's no excuse for that and any like that. That is really messed up. You don't talk like that to a woman or really to anyone. You don't use that word, period. But it's just the world we live in. Like we're finding the guy's job and whatever, and you find his name and you put it out on the internet for millions of people to see. And does the guy deserve some of that for what he did? 1,000,000%. Not trying to argue that. But, guys, I've been to some playoff sports games in my life. I've been to some games where I went to other teams' buildings to root for my team. This happens in every single stadium, every single game, whether it's regular season or postseason. Maybe not baseball. They play 162 of those things. They don't do that. But this happens all the time. Are we really going to do this every single time now? Like, are we setting a standard where this is just going to happen every single time? I don't understand it. Like, I'll be honest, I've heard Cleveland fans say way worse stuff at playoff games before. I don't know.
Nick, your thoughts before I go in?
I would just say, like, it's part of the way the world is now. Like, I grew up a Browns season ticket holder, so I was, a little kid going into these games with my dad, especially like the divisional games against Pittsburgh and stuff. And you do hear crazy stuff, and it's part of what makes you a sports fan. But you hope that you go through life and you learn to not repeat that stuff, and not to conduct yourself that way. And that's why my take of it is like, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Like, if you act like that in public, you're liable to be recorded on video and go viral on social media, and consequences are consequences regardless of the action. So he acted that way. It was caught on video, and now he's paying the price. So, like, yeah, you acted like a dummy. Now you're getting the dummy treatment. Is kind of my 2 cents on it.
First and foremost, where you start with this, in my opinion, is this wasn't a man to another man. This was a man to a woman. And talk about, equal rights feminism all you want. That's a layer to it that in alone is disgusting, right?
Yeah,
like, you're doing
totally.
this to a woman, let alone a woman who's right next to her fiance just trying to enjoy the game. And yeah, I agree, Nick. Like, you are a grown-ass man. Like, I love the NFL. You guys love the NFL. But if you get so drunk, I don't even know if he was drunk. That's the thing. It didn't even look that drunk. So he could have been sober doing it, which is even worse.
Oh, he's in Philly. He was dead sober doing that shit.
But imagine you're this dude. I think he's married. That's what they said. Imagine you're this dude's wife. He's like, oh yeah, he's going to the game with his buddies. You're on X. You see your husband all over Twitter.
He's got a daughter too,
being a giant asshole. And now this dude goes viral. His job is probably in jeopardy. His friends are probably looking at him like, what the hell, dude? Everybody he knows, everywhere he goes in Philadelphia, people will be like, oh yeah, you're the dumbass Eagles fan that ran his mouth. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, he's the negative Steve Bartman of Philadelphia now.
Yeah, at least they won the game, but good point.
Yeah, the Eagles won, but that guy lost.
Oh, he lost. Yeah,
I can't fathom being that. Like, he probably mid-50s. I don't know. He looks like an older guy. Like, just not having the reservations to realize how stupid that is. And nowadays everybody's filming. Everybody's filming everything. Just imagine that's your father, right? You said if she has a daughter, imagine that's your father. You just see on social media. Like, how embarrassed would you be?
I mean, that's just your Go Birds fans. I mean, I think you're getting that a lot of times you walk into that building. But yeah, you got to feel for the family, especially. I mean, for that poor, I'm assuming the daughter is younger based off his age, or at least probably still in the schooling age. Like, that's got to be a tough walk into school Monday, Tuesday, and probably until you graduate. So.
Oh my God, I would never talk to my dad again.
Yeah.
If you went viral like that and you had to go to school,
Yeah.
that would be humiliating.
Brutal. That's what I'm saying. Like, the solution is so easy, and I know like it'll never happen. So we're preaching the choir on this, but like, don't act like an animal. How about that?
Yeah, no, an animal is a good way to put that. That's for sure. Like, I'm just trying to just imagine myself in that scenario. If that was like, if I ever had a fiance, like some dude was saying that to me at a game. I mean, how could you not throw hands, right?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I did see a tweet about that. I did see a tweet about that where some dude was like, quoted the tweet and was like, yeah, like nowadays, like you don't just defend your wife right there in the stands, like you just go post it on Twitter so you can get canceled instead. Like there definitely was a day and age where that would have been a fight.
Say what you will. I'd rather get my ass beat to a pulp than get canceled like that for doing something so stupid.
If I was the boyfriend,
yeah,
I would, and again, mind you, I'm 5'7", 100 pounds soaking wet here, so I'm going into it knowing that I'm getting my butt kicked, but I would much rather get my butt kicked than put his face out on social media and try and get him canceled.
Yeah, Nick, yesterday we were power ranking in a way, like the worst fan bases, and we were talking about the Yankees, etc., Boston, not as bad as Yankees fans in our opinions, our experiences here in Cleveland, but I imagine Eagles fans, I mean, you always hear you hear the worst of them. And this is just another example.
Yeah, Boston has to be like in a class of their own. But yeah, Philly fan is no joke. They're up there too. Yeah, this whole thing is, and it just like I just can't get over it. Like the fact that people are still acting like this when these videos of like fights in the stands and guys acting crazy, these have gone viral every single week. There's been like a different fight that gets posted off that ML football account. So if you're in a stadium and you're causing a scene, like chances are somebody's going to pull out their phone and it's going to end poorly for you. Just we got to put an end to people just acting whatever way. And I do think like somebody made the point of like, how drunk was this guy? Like people in the Cleveland media talk about that all the time. Like, are you a Browns fan or are you a fan of getting so hammered in the Muni lot that you can't even see straight by the time that the ball is kicked off? And there's a lot of people where that's the scenario. There's a lot of Browns
Trust
fans.
me, I know a few.
Yeah, there's a lot of Browns fans that, will give you the craziest takes about the game, but they were so blacked out they don't even remember it. So, yeah, that's my soapbox.
It's got to be anyone who went to the Dolphins game, right? I mean, if your team's 3-12 and your 10th string quarterback's playing and the season's over and it's cold as hell.
Yeah, well,
I guess there's a difference there though between that, that game was more of like a meme fest. This was a playoff game.
Yeah, that is very.
Here's my solution, and let me know what you guys think. Have you guys read? I'm assuming you had to read in school the Scarlet Letter.
I did not know. I know what it's about, but I did not have to read it.
Do you know what the Scarlet Letter is?
That's like they made her. Yeah,
she had an A on her for adultery. Like, tie this dude down, brand his forehead with a giant A for asshole, have him walk around for that the rest of his life, and I promise you, nobody will ever do any of that again.
That is true.
All right, well, he's banned from Eagles games for the rest of his life, rightfully so. Something else is getting banned, way more popular than this douchebag. It's the app Tik Tok. January 19th potentially will be shutting down. Huge news, especially in our age of media. We'll talk about that, wrap up the show a little. Caitlin Clark has a stalker. Is it you, Jack? I don't know. We'll find out. Interesting quotes there, and then we'll be out of here. Thanks for sticking around. One more break. We'll be back here on The Big Factor. Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Big Factor here on the Big Play Sports Network. Ryan Tyler, Jack O'Rourke, Nick Padone, remotely back from California. Thanks for coming on. Glad you're back this week, Nick. But we're going to end the show talking about TikTok potentially being banned January 19th. If it's China-based owner, ByteDance doesn't sell off its U.S. operation, everybody's going to have to find a new activity to do on the toilet. Instagram Reels are still there, I assume. YouTube Shorts are there. But TikTok, by far the most popular media of those short videos. Guys, this was banned in India in 2020. I don't know if you knew that. I just found that out. And now apparently everybody's flocking. They're downloading this new app that's taken the news by storm. I saw it on Fox 8 this morning. It's called Red Note. It launched in 2013. It's valued at $17 billion, and it's basically the Chinese version of Instagram. If TikTok gets banned, this looks like the new app that people are flocking to. But your guys' initial reaction to this, it's quite shocking.
So I'm really out of the loop here, folks. So, I'm on TikTok all day long, but why is it getting banned? Like, what's the
Jack
issue?
being our social media manager for the entire company and being out of the loop on this news is probably not good.
No, I know like what the dates are and what we need to happen or not. It's like a clinching scenario. It's like a clinching scenario in football, but for keeping an app. But I'm asking at the head of it on a much larger scale, why is it getting banned? That's my question.
It's a Chinese-owned company that's said to steal our data.
So I can see people talk about sports on it. Who cares?
Yeah,
nice. I heard the music creep in there.
Yeah,
the thing, I think the thing with it though, and what's like a who cares about it is like, okay, Facebook is a company that steals our data, but they're in America, so it's fine because it's America. It's our boy Zuckerberg. Like, he could steal all of our data. We don't care about that. We're looking for our memes on Facebook. Like, so just because it's TikTok, because it's a Chinese company, obviously this is something that's been discussed for a while. Like Ryan said, the 19th is the kind of the final day. Now they could delay it. They could push the ban out further to the 19th. And if that were to happen, it would obviously be in the next couple of days here. That would delay it past the inauguration. And then Trump has said, since TikTok kind of helped him win the election, he was very popular with, younger voters.
Shout out Barron.
Yeah, shout out Barron, who was kind of like his, social guy, I guess, if you will, like kind of telling him which moves that would be good with the younger crowd. He kind of, it seems like now has flipped his stance on TikTok and he might save it. So we're early. It's only the 14th. This goes away on the 19th. If you know anything about the news or the internet, like a million different things could happen between now and then. But what would happen is it wouldn't be gone off your phone. Like, it would still be on your phone. It just wouldn't update. So within a couple of weeks to a month, like, it would just be not usable anymore.
Yeah, just like the Florida teenagers who need a VPN to watch Pornhub now, the same thing. You're going to need a VPN to go on TikTok, I believe, is what would happen. I don't hate this move, and this comes from a guy who doesn't use TikTok that much. Like, of course I have it. I scroll here and there. I don't post really ever. I have before, but it's not a normal thing. I don't hate the move. Yeah. Listen, what I'm about to say, the problem, it's not going to get fixed by just banning TikTok. It's everywhere. But, like, nowadays you have fifth graders. I have a cousin who's a little cousin who's on TikTok, just ass and titties everywhere. Like, it's crazy. So much of the sexual shit, like fifth graders are ripping dab pens and jewels now. I'm not saying that's because of TikTok, but the same thing, like half of it's porn, guys. I don't hate the move.
I mean, I don't find it much different off of the age-old debate of the first-person shooter games. Does playing a first-person shooter game make you more likely to buy a gun or go do bad things with a gun? I mean, that stuff, it's not like that stuff is going to go away, like you just said. I spend way too much time on TikTok. It's just like brain rot combinations of Notre Dame football highlight reels and Joshua Block that I send to Nick. So like that's literally, that's what my For You page is. And damn, do I not want it to go away, guys.
Did he answer your email?
Who? Joshua Block? He has not yet, but we will keep, Josh, if you're out there somewhere, we're coming for you. In a good way. In a good way.
Dude, I'm telling you, we got to get through to Quinn. Okay. Here's like my thing with TikTok, and it's similar to Ryan, maybe a little bit different. The sensationalization of everything is kind of like what's the worst part about TikTok, because like if we're being honest, like when I was in 5th and 6th grade, like kids had vape, kids had dab pens, Girls Gone Wild was probably like the #1 search site at St. Monica's before you would get the block screen. Like this is nothing new, just because you have TikTok and it's accessible. Like kids have been finding ways to get into nonsense since the early onset of the earth. And I love that Jack found that so funny. But like I think like it contributes to like the dumbness of society, like the fact that our attention spans are all so short, like I think is a bad thing that TikTok created. Like the fact that, you know, like we can't really focus on anything for that long, like is a byproduct of TikTok. So the thing is, though, like I'm curious to see, and maybe it's this Red Note app, which will probably also get banned if it's Chinese backed. Like, I'm curious to see like what comes of this, like what's next. If TikTok does go away, something else will pop up, because like Vine was so big for so long and it went away, and it did take TikTok years. You know, it was Musically and then TikTok, but something else will come up. It'll just create more competition for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just 4 words why I'm fine with TikTok being banned. Skibbity Ohio toilet riz.
Yeah.
Like the amount of brain rot is just unbelievable.
Yeah, I come from a college house where there definitely was multiple people who knew all of the words to the Closer, Rizzler, whatever that, like the mashup, I don't know what the proper word is for changing the words of a song. So yeah, I'm probably more in tune with the brain rot world than you guys are. Yeah, I'm okay with the brain rot going away. I think I can, as someone who has spent a lot of time around brain rot, I can definitely do without the skibbities and the toilets and the John Pork and all those good characters.
John Pork was awesome. That's the one thing I'll say. I had a lot of fun with John Pork.
What's so crazy about this though is like, is this just gonna dilute like? So like a big part of this is like someone can come and buy TikTok, but the Chinese like company that owns TikTok is like, no, like you could, you know, offer, like Kevin O'Leary wanted to buy it.
Mr. Beast tweeted today.
Mr. Beast tweeted that he was going to buy it. The thing is though, like you're not going to get the algorithm. And that's the thing with TikTok that everyone loves so much, is if you go down a rabbit hole, it feeds you more of what you watch. It feeds you more of what you want to see. And there's a huge, massive subconscious component to that. So, you know, if you're watching videos about finance, you're going to see more finance videos. But if you're watching these dumb Joshua Block videos like me and Jack are, you're going to see more of Joshua Block. So whoever buys it, if that's the route that it goes, they're not going to get the algorithm. It's going to be a lesser app and a lesser addictive platform because the algorithm's different. And that's obviously a reason why YouTube Shorts hasn't been as big as TikTok, or Instagram Reels isn't as big as TikTok, because it's a little bit of everything, and it's less of feeding you only what you like, and your feed being dominated by what you like and what you're into in that current moment. So whatever's next is going to have like a tall task to fill to try to emulate that TikTok algorithm, because it's what makes the app.
You know, you bring up a great point, Nick, about the algorithm and how important it is to TikTok. I totally agree. But I have a hunch they're going to find a way, because every single time I open Instagram, I magically go to my Explore page and see 15 different videos of Sidney Thomas. So I do think they're going to find a way to figure out the algorithm.
Oh, I wonder why that video of Sidney Thomas is 14 hours long.
That's mine too, but like I'm not watching that. I don't watch Instagram Reels at all. So Instagram and Facebook are more so doing that, Jack, because they know based off of, you know, your meta profile, your Facebook, that you're a male aged 18 to 30.
Yeah.
And that's what other males aged 18 to 30 are consuming. So they're going to put that on your Explore page.
Not
so
Jack.
You're also
no
much more likely to see, like I get like UFC edits. Like I'm not that big of a UFC fan, but I see like all these videos of McGregor on my Instagram Reels. I'm like, I don't want these. Like I'm not watching this.
I will say though too, Nick, that is the one bad thing about TikTok, is like sometimes you'll get off and you'll watch like one video and you'll go down like a tiny rabbit hole, not even that long, but then you get stuck on that rabbit hole that you didn't want to be on in the first place. Like that's how you end up getting random ass videos for 3 days also.
Yeah, I mean, I will say TikTok had some really cool trends. Like I wrote a couple of them down. Like the Roman Empire was absolutely hilarious. I thought that was one of the better ones.
Yeah.
The Adult Swim trend. Do you guys remember that? I thought that was kind of cool.
That was clever.
People were able to like make really creative videos like to the Adult Swim theme music. I don't know, that was cool. And then like Days in the Life. I don't know, stuff like that was cool, but I won't hate if the app's gone.
What about a little Renegade?
Yeah, Renegade was that's probably the most popular. Yeah,
I miss like the 20, you know, like COVID TikTok, you know, where like Addison Rae was like all American woman, you know,
she's
like
still around.
she's still around, but like I don't know. I miss those days. So I feel like TikTok maybe like it's one of those things. I don't feel that strongly about like saving it. I do. I will say the one thing that I hate about banning it, and it bears mentioning on this show, is I hate the precedent that it sets. That like it kind of is enabling government to censor, you know, the way that we consume media. And so many people are on TikTok. Like it's not just young people. Like it's so many people are on TikTok. So I don't love the precedent that the government can come in and just say, hey, because a Chinese company oversees this platform, like snap a finger and it's gone. That's probably not a good thing, but it had its moment. The next thing will come up. It's nothing to lose sleep over, which is crazy to say because this show, like our network, is on such a, you know, social media dominated. We've put so many man hours into growing our TikTok, and I've even grown my TikTok like a smidge, not a ton, but like anything, like the next thing will come. There will be opportunity everywhere. So
I will say,
no need to lose sleep over. Like Jack, I know that there were people that like, you know, kind of like work close to our marketing team that are probably losing sleep over the TikTok ban, and there's like no reason to. There's literally none.
Yeah, I will say though, TikTok right now in terms of social media apps is on a generational run I have not seen since logging onto Twitter from like 2014 to 2018 in the good old days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. We'll be seeing. I'm sure we'll get a ton of more information. But hey, go
we'll
follow Big Play Sports Network TikTok. If it doesn't get banned, you'll get good content there. Of course, Jack, we're probably out of time today. And we want to talk Caitlin Clark. We want to talk LiAngelo Ball signing to Def Records. You want to push that to tomorrow?
That's up to you guys. We can run through those pretty quick if you want. I don't think those are super.
You want to?
Yeah, let's do it real quick. Yeah, right. I think we just have a thought or two on each.
All right, well then, stage is yours, Jack. I'm in your world.
Okay, Caitlin Clark. I just wanted your guys' thoughts on this one because this was crazy. It was on the Today Show this morning. So this guy who was from Texas, I believe, decided to drive up and just dedicate his life to stalking Caitlin Clark. So this guy's messages got leaked, and these are some of the craziest messages I've seen in my whole entire life. Someone texted him that like friends with him, like, bro, like you have to stop. Like you can't do this. Like this is a really bad idea. And he's like, oh, it's like I'm just driving around her home, and then in parentheses the name of the field house that the Pacers and the Fever play at 3 times a day. Weird enough. And then Nick, this is almost a playoff of a phrase that you like to use, so I wanted to share this as well. This guy had the time to think and understand where he was at, and texts to his friend, "I have one foot on a banana peel and the other on a stalking charge." If you know,
at least at least you know he's not insane.
Yeah, at least
he's aware of his.
He is aware, but that's what I'm saying. If you're aware that you got one foot on a banana peel and the other on a stalking charge, you need to stop doing whatever you're doing, brother.
That's so strange. The whole thing is so bizarre because, like, by all accounts, like Caitlin Clark is like this, you know, nice, innocent, like unassuming character, and that's it's so sick in the way that that's probably why this happened to her. It's so weird. And the fact I didn't even know that those texts were a thing. I saw the story earlier today, but I didn't know about the text. It's so bizarre. Like, lock this guy up, throw away the key, like throw the book at him. Yeah, hell yeah, Jack.
Brand him on the forehead.
So
yeah, Scarlet Letter. That's the episode of this. The Big Factor Tuesday, January 14th title is called the Scarlet Letter episode.
Dude, he will also, when the police talk to him about it, he's like, no, you got me all wrong. I just have a fantasy about dating Caitlin Clark. What the hell are you talking about? You went 2 time zones away, drove around an arena 3 times a day, and knew you were stalking her, and it was just a fantasy? What kind of a sick fantasy? It's a dark, twisted fantasy. That's what it is.
Shout out Kanye. But I mean, that's just a new medium to do this in, stalking, right? This isn't anything new. I mean, I remember, I don't remember. New. I wasn't there, but like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. Like, John Hinckley Jr., the guy who tried to assassinate Ronald Reagan, like he said he was motivated because he was obsessed with Jodie Foster. Now, how that played into assassinating Reagan, at least the attempt to, I don't know. But like, yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of sick, disgusting people on this planet. That's nothing new.
Not at all. Then LiAngelo Ball.
Yeah,
guys,
speaking of awesome, great music players, LiAngelo Ball.
LiAngelo Ball himself. And LiAngelo Ball, guys, Tweaker is no longer just a song that defines a year, like 2025. LiAngelo Ball just signed with a record deal. And we're not talking just some guys who rented a shack down the road. He signed with Def Jam Records. You are officially 3 for 3, LeVar. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's big. You know, like it genuinely is. And to think that like Jello's still in the G League, you know, so it's like he made it further than 99.99% of America
Totally.
in basketball. And then the song was good, and like the family all had components in it, so it's cool. It's cool that like it's proof now that like Tweaker, like the song was more than just a meme, and maybe it started off that way. But
It's a banger.
I'm curious to see what's next for LiAngelo Ball, because I know like the one thing with when these record labels get involved, like Mason Ramsey, the yodeling kid, like like went viral in a Walmart and then like had like 3 albums in the course of a year. So something tells me that Jello is going to be in the stew a lot more now that Def Jam leftovers are in the picture here.
Def Jam's not going to pay him to sit around on his fanny, that's for sure. He's going to get 2 albums out. He's going to get 2 out. Tweaker 2 coming to phones near you.
Well, I was
doing Rolling Loud, I think.
He's going to Rolling Loud too?
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
good for you, Jello.
live show, big factor at Rolling Loud.
So how far does he need to, because no offense to Lonzo started it all. He's the founding father of the Ball family's success of the children. I know LeVar's obviously his real dad. Lonzo's had the injury issues, didn't end up being as good as LaMelo in the NBA, whatever. How much does LiAngelo need to do in the music industry to also pass LiAngelo in terms of just familial success?
We're talking about Lonzo or LaMelo?
Or sorry, I meant like what does LiAngelo need to do to pass LaMelo in terms of success?
Oh God!
Like, if you need like 2 really good albums, like a couple top 5 hits, like what does he need to be like? Okay, now it's like, yeah, LiAngelo Ball is his son. Then there's these 2 who play basketball, and one of them is really good at basketball.
I'd say if
you need top 5 songs for sure. Like Tweaker's good, but you need to be on like every major radio station. Like you need that kind of star power, in my opinion, to hang with like an NBA star, which LaMelo is. So I think like he's got a little work to do. I think it's a lot further out than you'd think.
All right, hey, we got to get out of here. Shout out LiAngelo, shout out Jack, shout out Nick. Not shout out that asshole Eagles fan. I hope he gets branded. This was a hell of a show today. I had a lot of fun. Yes, it was a Scarlet Letter episode. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll be back right here tomorrow, same time slot, 10 a.m. Nick will be back. Of course, he's back from California. Welcome back to the land. We appreciate everyone, and we will see you tomorrow. Peace out.